so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. After years of exploring this awe-inspiring truth on this podcast, I am super excited to announce that we are now going even deeper down the rabbit hole on the new late-night style consciousness-elevating talk show called Optimistic, which features epic soul share interviews from the world's brightest luminaries, live painting from mind-blowing visionary artists, high-vibe musical performances, and last but not least, none other than you, the listeners. The show is being filmed out of the epic spaceship-esque property called the Mystic Manor that myself and the rest of the Optimistic crew now navigate reality from in the transformational vortex of Venice Beach, California. And there are multiple exciting ways you can co-create Optimistic along with us. Everything from coming to experience a life-changing, transformational Mystic Manor immersion week with me and the rest of the Optimistic family, which consists of workshops and unique experiences, including being on the show itself, to coming to participate as an audience member during a live taping, to viewing behind-the-scenes footage at the Mystic Manor each week, longer-run overtime interviews with my soul share guests on each episode, and even peeking in on our workshops and healing sessions each week. All of these options are outlined in detail on the webpage optimistic.tv. That's spelled OPTIMYSTIC.TV. To be perfectly frank, the cost to produce Optimistic is the biggest stretch I've ever made in my life. And it has been a huge leap of faith for me, trusting that if I leap, that the net will appear. So if your life has been enriched by Positive Head in any way, I'm asking you at this time to pay it forward by going to optimistic.tv and choosing one of the many ways to support the evolution of this podcast that is most in alignment with you so that we can reach a broader audience. There are options as low as $2.22 a month, and you can virtually experience life here at the Mystic Manor for only $7.77 a month. Pretty cheap, right? I'd also like to thank you in advance for honoring our soul contract to show up at this very special transitional time in our collective journey, as well as showing up for all the souls out there that will surely benefit from the monetary currency you were inspired to flow into this project to help us all step into a more optimistic world. Once again, the webpage is optimistic.tv. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you all soon at the Mystic Manor. All right, all you positive heads, here we go. I'm back in action, and it's just me today. Wow, it feels like it's been a minute since it's just been me. I've either had Optimistic or Mystic Manor guests here with me, or co-hosts, or something going on, or the wonderful Dr. Erica Middlemiss has been filling in from time to time. You know, the last month has definitely been a transitional one for me, for the show. And yeah, it feels really good to just be back, just me, the microphone, and you guys who are going to receive this in a bit. And I'm going to talk about, what am I going to talk about? I think I'm going to talk about intangible versus tangible. Actually, I don't think I know. I am going to talk about this idea of learning to love the intangible as much as the tangible, and how that's actually the path to receiving all those tangible things. And, you know, it's something that is definitely an art form, as Abraham talks about, and we'll share a clip here in a little bit that summarizes that. But think about it this way. Everything you've ever seen started out as a thought form. Every big vision, dream, every bit of magic, it's always started off as, something intangible. And we're so attached to the idea of tangible results. Where's the new car or the house or the partner, the relationship, the whatever it is that we want, we put so much stock in this idea of tangibility. Like it's got to really be here on all levels. I got to be able to smell it, see it, hear it. All the senses need to be able to address it and interact with it. And really, as we move into this new paradigm, this new earth, as we continue to ascend, one of the things that sort of sparked this inspiration this morning, Lizzie Locke is here, who you're going to hear on forthcoming interview and episode of Optimistic with her partner Michael. And Lizzie is super sensitive energetically, and here at the Mystic Manor, and we're preparing for the next round of guests to come in. And by the way, the first 2 weeks have been absolutely epic. If you've heard my episodes with them, I've so enjoyed. I mean, they've been everything I'd hoped they could be for me, for the guests. And we have a few slots still in September that I'm looking to get filled, and because I've been so busy with the move in and the new show and everything like that, there's still a few slots hanging out there that probably otherwise would have been filled by now. So if you're thinking about coming, been interested in coming, I'd love to talk to you about it, and even willing to work out a little something special for those few remaining September slots. You can email me, Brandon@positivehead.com. But anyway, I was talking to Lizzie this morning as she was prepping for the new guests that are coming in here in just a few hours. And one of the things that she was saying is like, oh yeah, I'm doing a clearing of the energy in the house because so much energy is happening here, so much transformation, and people are up leveling and sort of leaving old energy behind as they go out into the world. Not only the guests, but also, the people that are there for the live audience, live tapings. I mean, just a lot. The house, the Mystic Manor is definitely turning in, has already become the vortex I knew it would be. And she's like, there's a lot of energetics here, and I sense them, I see them, I feel them. She's like, and it's something, and I got talking about that because it's fascinating to me. It's like one of those things where I have more and more people around me who are sensing information and energy on a totally different level. And she was like, yeah, it's one of those things I forget sometimes, that not everyone is seeing and feeling these things on these different levels. And, it's just a part of my world now. And she's like, so I'm like, I just spend a few minutes. It's kind of like house cleaning. I can see all the energy and how it's affecting people that interact here and everything like that. And it's just really, it's really a fascinating thing when you think about these more intangible energies that are really at play in everything that we do. And, got me to thinking, well, we really, as we all get more sensitive, I don't claim to be as sensitive on that level like someone like Lizzie or many others that I know and have talked to or even had on the show who are like seeing things non-physical or sensing energies in really like dramatic fashion. So but what I'm noticing is there's more and more and more people. I know I'm more intuitive, more sensitive, and I think we have all are on our own unique trajectories and paths with, our intuition developing and things like that. I mean, she was just telling me how when she lays down at night, she goes into full visions of other places. She was like, yeah, last night I was like full on in some future city in a car moving through the town, and, explaining in detail everything that's around her. And it's just like fascinating, how many people are sensing, I was asking her about it, and I was like, are you there? How she's like, what's it, I was trying to get more details, and she's like, oh, it's like I'm sort of overviewing the whole thing. I'm in the car, but kind of watching what's happening in the vehicle. And I find that really fascinating. And there's more and more people. I mean, I had a conversation the day before with my friend Shelby, who every night she dreams, lucid dreams, she goes and has like what feels like years of experience in other lifetimes. And what a wild concept. I'm going to go to bed tonight and then I'll wake up tomorrow and I've lived, 20 years in another body or, being another version of me. And that's just like overwhelming. And she says it's kind of intense and overwhelming for her, and so there's more and more of this kind of stuff happening to people all around. sensing, like Lizzie, sensing the intangible energies of the room, the space, seeing the importance of clearing the space and just in interacting with those energies like they're just as important as anything else that you would normally interact with in a room. We can think of very tangible things that most of us are used to, like, oh, it's messy, I need to clean up, or it smells bad, I need to take the trash out or put on some incense, or it's loud, I need to turn it down, or, oh, I'd like some music. These are all these tangible things. What I can see, smell, hear, taste. But as we become more tuned into the intangible, you realize that not only are they just as important, it may be more subtle, but just as important, and they're also the things that are leading to the tangible oftentimes, right? Everything started as a thought form or an idea, intangible. Everything you've ever seen, every car you've driven in, every house you've slept under, every roof you've slept under, it all started as an idea once, an intangible thought form, right? Floating. And, that's when you start realizing, oh, all these thought forms are real things. All these energies, they're real. You don't see the radio waves that are flying through, making through the air to make noise come out of your radio, but they're there. There's the same sort of thing. And so when you start understanding some of the most powerful things on the planet are intangible, love being the number one example, love is intangible, right? You can't really even fully define what it is. It's not a thing that you can put in, you can buy a teddy bear to try and symbolize it, but I'll take chocolates, by the way. But you can't, it's intangible, right? You can't really, here's the most important thing in all of creation, and it's completely intangible. And yet we are so fixated on the tangible stuff, so much so, and needing only physical realness, or focusing so much on physical realness, and really, it's time to start accepting vibrational realness, more vibrational realness. You are at that point. It's time for that to become completely front and center on what it is you're doing. The art of co-creating, the art of allowing, as Abraham talks about in the clip we're going to share here in a few minutes. So, It is definitely time for that, and no more focusing. And a lot of times when we are even focused in the intangible, we are focused on all the wrong things, right? I'm focusing on something that I'm stressing out on. I'm projecting into the future about what could go wrong, right? And this is like the biggest. If you're going to focus on the intangible, let's focus on the intangible in a way that is actually serving us, in a way that actually creates the tangible results we hope to see in the future, right? Spending less time focused on, this idea of stressing about the future. I mean, how often does the future not show up like you imagined it would? Almost all the time. Most of the time. So, worrying is just a poor use of imagination, right? You're giving energy to something intangible that you're making. Why making up a bad story? I mean, it's the best thing I do is make up good stories, right? Because I realize I'm the creator, and if I tell the story in a way that serves me, that's going to lead to a vibrational result that is somehow resonant. It may not show up exactly the same, but something similar, right? Vibrationally. So this is the future. This is the new art form. Giving a rest to what you don't want, focusing on how important the intangible, these thought forms and non-physical energies are. You've accepted that with love. Now let's accept that with every other part of your reality and learn the art of allowing, as we're going to hear here in this clip, Abraham talk about. And I found this one on the Signs of Signs YouTube page. It's called Let Things Happen. Take a listen.
So my question is, I was wondering if you could speak to the art of allowing, because what I find, at least for myself, is that speaking to the art of allowance, like allowing something to come into your sphere of being or your existence. But then the question that reverberates around my mind is, but how? Or like, how do I do that? How do I do this? How do I do that?
So step 1 is ask, step 2 is source answers, and step 3 is allow it. These days, we're calling it allowing, but we're saying to you, in order to allow, you got to be in the receiving mode. You can't allow it if you're not on that vibrational frequency. And so it really is by thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling. That's how you discover your own ability to focus in productive, beneficial ways. But humans make it harder than it needs to be because you're not that good at being willing just to find a satisfying thought. Have you been listening to us for a while? We've been talking about the emotional scale where appreciation and love feel really good and depression and fear and despair feel really bad. And there are a range of emotions in between. And today what we're saying to you is don't try to go from despair to appreciation. Just go from less satisfying to more satisfying. Because you can feel when you're reaching for a thought that feels a little better, and you can feel when you're reaching for a thought that doesn't. The other day, Esther was thinking a thought, and she said to herself, now that's just dumb. You're focusing on a thought that you know doesn't feel good. Why are you doing that? And part of it was habit. It was a habitual thought. Part of it was because a lot of other people were thinking the same thought, so it was easier to go there. But she could tell by her focus on it how not beneficial it was to her. And so that's really what it comes down to. You have to care about how you feel. We've been teaching meditation for a long while because when you meditate, you quiet your mind, and when you quiet your mind, you stop thought. And when you stop thought, you stop resistant thought, and then your vibration rises. And if you do that on a consistent basis, it makes you more sensitive to the thoughts that feel a little better and the thoughts that feel not so good. So sometimes people think that what we mean by art of allowing is just be really tolerant of others. Look out into the world and see terrible things and just don't make a fuss over them. And if you don't make a fuss over something, then you're tolerant and allowing. But that isn't what we mean. We mean allowing your connection with your source. And that's precise. For example, let's say you're watching television and you see a news broadcast that's really pushing hard against something. And it bothers you a lot when you see it. Well, the reason it bothers you is because your inner being is not looking at that in that way. So you've chosen an attitude or an opinion about something that your inner being isn't choosing, which means it's not beneficial to you. Your thought is detrimental to you. Well, it's not easy as humans to sort that out because there are so many thoughts you think that you believe that you should think because so many people think them. Esther said to us in the beginning, but Abraham, it's true. It's true, so therefore I'm not inappropriate to think this thought because a lot of people are thinking this thought, and after all, it's true, and shouldn't I focus on what's true? And it took us a while to convince her that the reason it's true is because people have thought about it. And if she wants it to be true for her, then she can keep thinking about it. But if it's uncomfortable as she's thinking about it, it's going to get more and more uncomfortable as this unwanted thought turns to an unwanted thing. Because everything is in the state of becoming. And so this all comes round to just deciding, hey, I got to focus, but I'm not focusing my thoughts. I'm focusing my emotions. I'm feeling my way to it. Now, something that will help you a lot. This is really good. If you can make the distinction between a thought that I'm thinking and a thought that I'm receiving, because the goal is to get tuned in so that you can receive that broader point of view, the advantage point of view. So a lot of thoughts that you are thinking don't feel that good, and it just means give it a rest for a little while. Because in thinking the thought that doesn't feel good, you've also done step one and put a whole lot of questions and requests for solutions into your vortex. And so your inner being is all over it. Your inner being is creating a route for you, a specific route just for you, because your inner being knows what all your resistant points are. So your inner being knows exactly how to answer your question. Your inner being knows exactly how to get you there. So you kind of got to relax and stop thinking and start receiving. Have you ever? Oh, you have. This will help you. So imagine that somebody has asked you a question about something that you're very skilled at, and you know the answer, and you know how to lead them. So you begin to tell them, but they won't stop talking. They won't stop talking. They won't stop telling you what they think and what they've tried that didn't work. And you're wanting to say, you asked me a question, I'm going to give you an answer if you'll just give it a rest. But they won't stop talking. They just keep writhing around in their dilemma while you have a very clear view of what would help them, but they won't stop talking. Well, you're just like that. For the most part, we like to characterize it this way. When you decided to come into your physical body, it was your intention to mix it up with life and spend about 10% of your time developing questions and problems that go into your vortex that Source will help you answer. And you intended to spend about 90% of your time in happy thoughts, in blissful thoughts, in restful states, in appreciative states, so that you could be the receiver of the answers to the questions. But most humans have that flipped. Most of you writhe in your question. Just keep asking and asking and asking, but it's not working out for me, and it hardly is working out for anybody, and it didn't work out for my parents. We just want to say to you, just give it a rest. Just quiet your mind. Stop all that activity about what isn't wanted. And when you do that, because your question is so vivid and so pointed and so focused, because you've been working on it for a while, when you cool your jets and you stop arguing for your limitations, you'll come out of one of those meditative states and you'll receive an idea. You got that? The next thing is, don't need the first idea to be the blockbuster of all blockbusters of all blockbuster ideas. Let it be a thought about moving furniture. Because if you're not thinking about, well, how's that going to get me to where I want to be, which puts you right back over here, but you're just following the thought. Why? Because it felt good. A good feeling thought will lead to another one and another one and another one, and eventually you'll be to the blockbusting idea, to the blockbusting unfolding, to the solution that is really apparent to you and all others. So your question was, I get the concept of allowing and receiving, but how do I accomplish it? And we say, by being willing to be ready, to be ready, to be ready, to be ready. By being willing to allow the satisfaction to be enough as you go along. That really is the answer. Because, you see, anytime you ask anything, your inner being has a full-blown answer. But your beliefs don't let you hear it. If you knew how smart your inner being is, how we're all together and we know the answer to your dilemmas, but you can't hear them because you're all wadded up in your problems, you see. You got that, didn't you? Ready to be ready to be ready to be ready to be ready.
And just relax into that unfolding.
It requires a little bit of trust. We know it's what religions call faith. It's faith in the process. And we're asking a lot of you, we're saying, here you are in your bodies, and you say, yeah, we know, we can see us. We can see us. You don't have to tell us about that part. We've got that. And we say, and as you've been living, you're asking for things that you haven't let yourself have yet. And you say, yeah, don't have to tell us that either, Abraham. We know that too. And we say, yeah, but what you might not know is that you've been projecting these vibrations, and you say, oh, crap. Vibrations, vibrations. And when am I going to get my money out of the vortex and into the bank, Abraham? In other words, I've been listening to this vibration stuff long enough. And we say, we've got to help you to know that there is a vibrational beingness of the things you want that you have to tune into and allow yourself to perceive them in more and more specific beingness. In a rational way, look at your planet, look at it over the last 100 years or 200 years, notice the difference in the economy and the difference in the lifestyle, and then acknowledge that there are no pipelines to other planets. There's not some other physical reality that's trucking this stuff in. Where is it coming from? It's thoughts turning to things. The resources are all here vibrationally, and you are tuning in, and it is your perception that is allowing the perception of the things of your life experience. Now, we know that's hard to hear because this seems like a very tangible, real thing. And when a lot of you think about things, you turn them into really, in other words, this is a belief system. This is a very powerful thing to believe in. It is so real that you'd be hard-pressed to deny the reality of this. And you keep wanting everything to be this kind of real. You're not willing to let it be this kind of real, and 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 this kind of real. For this kind of real, it takes seeing it, and feeling it, and hearing it, touching it. In other words, you're translating this reality with all of your physical senses. And eventually, there will be a lot of realities that you will be able to translate with your physical senses. But in the meantime, if you need to translate them with your physical senses, so much so that you're not willing to trust the vibrational nature of them, then you're not ever going to get more than what you've already got. See how it works? You kind of followed us on that, didn't you? You are realists and you are tangiblesses, and we get that, and it's a good thing, because this leading edge tangible reality, it is the leading edge. It's what everything that we have all lived before is pointed to. We're not trying to get you to ignore the real stuff and get off in some airy-fairy world and be happy with ideas rather than tangibles. That's not what we're wanting to accomplish. We're showing you the path of least resistance to your tangibles that matter, the reality that matters. And so if you can just not need it to be tangible right now, and you can enjoy the idea of it and enjoy what's leading you to it, we promise you everything that you want will be tangible. It will be manifested in that satisfying way. And so the art of allowing, that's why we call it an art. It's just not fall out of bed and discover it. You have to teach it to yourself. You have to talk yourself into it. It's the art of feeling good anyway. It's the art of recognizing the vibrational essence of something and taking delight in its vibrational essence and in the maturation of its vibrational essence, and not demanding that it be all the way matured before you're willing to give it your attention.
I love the simple steps, right? Ask, well, since time is illusory and source is infinite, it instantly answers. And the only thing preventing you from instantly seeing it and it manifesting in your world is your ability to be in vibrational alignment, intangible again, and allowing it to manifest itself. And in order to allow, you have to be in the receiving mode. Well, if you're broadcasting a bad story or a bad thought or a bad feeling or bad, something that's just lowering your vibration, you're not receiving. You're actually co-creating more of what you don't want. She said it's really important to learn how to start making the distinction between a thought that I'm thinking and one that I'm receiving. Right? Wow, that's huge. And that's where meditation is a huge piece, as she touched on, because you're constantly broadcasting when you're in your active mind mode. When you're in a receptive state, you're receiving, we're like a radio. We can receive and transmit, right? And we're spending so much time transmitting. Meanwhile, we could be receiving all this goodness, all this juiciness, and we're not, I saw something talking about meditation. It's like, it was just the other day, and it was referencing like, if you're too busy to meditate, well, yeah, then I get it. If it's worth it to you to just feel like shit all day long, then don't do it. Right? And it's really true. It's like when you come out of a meditation, even if it's for 10, 15 minutes, what is the reboot that you've done? What announcement have you made to the intangible universe, YO universe? What have you told it? You're like, I'm willing to make time. I'm willing to receive. I'm willing to get into this, my Zen, monk-like self, right? This part of myself that is, that it kind of comes from this calm, cool, collected, receptive mode. That's the story that you're telling. So even if you're really busy, great, make 5 minutes. You're a master of time and space. You can bend time and space. You're in training. You're a Jedi, a Padawan. You can figure out how to bend time and space for 5-10 minutes, right? Yes, of course you can. She talked about people who ask a question. Use the example: people ask a question and then won't stop talking about it, won't listen for the answer. The source is always answering you. You've asked, you've put it out there. Now receive. I like the number she gave. 10% of your time was meant for questions and 90% in receiving happy thoughts, blissful states, and how backwards we've got it. So if you see yourself constantly questioning, I know I do a lot of questioning. This is definitely something, for me to continue to work on as someone who wants to go. But what about receive? And don't be so attached to the first thoughts she talked about that's going to pop up as you get inspiration. right? Continue to just playfully explore them. And sometimes the energy just dissipates. It may be exciting for the first few minutes, and then you start shooting holes in it, or it falls apart. Your energy, your excitement falls apart. That's okay. Don't be so attached. Don't be attached to any of this stuff, right? Continually let go of these things. Continually let go and allow yourself to move on, to move forward, right? I love how she said, being willing to be ready and letting the satisfaction as you go along be enough. So continually letting go, continually finding the satisfaction in the intangible, learning to love the thought and feeling of it, playing with that art form, the art of feeling good anyway, right? And with that being said, I do have a perfect song to leave you with today. This is Ayla Nerio, Take It Slow. And yeah, take it slow. Don't get in your way. Keep it moving, as she says. What you want is on your way. Love you guys so much. Till next time, journey well.
Take it slow. Don't get in your way. Keep it moving. At the pace of every weather, look within. And don't forget you are surrounded by the wind. As it rushes in your lungs, oh honey, you are born of the moon, precious cave. Don't forget there is unknown inside you. Don't turn away from yourself by being like somebody else. You are tide crashing over and call of the mountains and your darkest tunnels, or where your light comes from. So take it slow. What you long for is on its way, and don't stop reaching. Taste the sound of every color deep within. Let your wild be uncaged, run with the wind, and rush into its lungs. Oh honey, you are born of the moon, precious cave. Don't forget there is unknown inside you. Don't turn away from yourself by being like somebody else. You are tide crashing over and call of the mountains and your darkest tunnels, where your light come from. Oh, aim for the journey and grow with the night. Be brave in your loving, keep steady your side. Oh honey, you are born of the moon, precious cave. Don't forget there is unknown inside you. Don't turn away from yourself by being like somebody else. Don't turn away from yourself by being like somebody else. Don't turn away. Don't turn away. Don't turn away. Don't turn away. You are tide crashing over and call of the mountains and your darkest tunnels, or where your light comes. Don't turn away. Don't turn away. Don't turn away. Don't turn away.